Hello and welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore. Today we have a little bit of a joint video going on here with Julianne from the Cary Quilt Company. This is the lady I told you we have a funny story about a bar soap. So Julianne, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Julianne Walther, and I'm from Cary Quilting Company. We are an online and in-person store in Cary, North Carolina, and we host handmade markets twice a year. And so we have 20 to 30 vendors who all make their own craft items or art pieces or pottery or whatever. And then as part of their contract with us, they give us things to give away to our viewers when we're building excitement for the next market. And Brenda here is one of our loyal viewers, and she says so many very kind things about us on our YouTube videos. And so Brenda was chosen as the winner of a bar of soap from, I believe, Fiddle Tree Farm, which is a great little company that I will link to here. And I didn't realize that Brenda lived so far away in Canada, and it was going to take a lot of money to get a bar of soap to Canada. So she declined, and we kind of started talking, and now we've become friends.
Well, I had to laugh. One of my viewers, or one of our mutual viewers, told me, "You won a bar, you won something at Cary Quilt Company. You got to go back and claim it, right?" And it was just like, I did. I don't remember that. Okay, so I went over there and we started talking, and the shipping would have cost more than the bar soap. And I was
Absolutely.
like, it's fine. We have soap here in Canada. We're not short of soap. It's fine. It's all good.
So we
And we
found some
did.
cool.
We started chatting. It was wonderful. It was like, oh, what a great idea. Let's talk and let's do stuff. Yeah, I know. So I the it was I told my husband about winning this bar of soap, and my husband just laughed immediately. He's like, "You won a bar of soap from a quilt store." And I said, "Yes, it's artisan soap." And he sat there, he's like,
This doesn't
"You
make any
realize how much it's gonna cost her to send that to me?" It's just like,
but it was fun that you won, and very kind of you to pass it on.
okay. Yeah, I'll pass on the bar soap. Yeah, I don't, yeah, we're good. We don't need, yeah, like what would it would have cost you like something like $20 to send it to me.
Yeah, probably about 25. Yeah, it would have been plenty.
No, 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 no. Yeah, yeah. So you run a quilt store in Cary, North Carolina.
Carolina.
What? Tell me about your store. Like, what kind of quilters do you get in? Do you get traditional, modern, scrappy? Like, what? Tell me about your store.
So the store is almost 10 years old, and we've been growing it ever since we opened. We opened with about 450 bolts and 2 cross fingers. I was never planning to open a store, but prior to owning the store, I owned a t-shirt quilt and memory quilt business. So people would mail their things to us, and then we would turn them into t-shirt quilts and then mail them back out. And during the time that I owned that business, I had 4 little kids, 3 of them boys, peeing, all over the toilet. And I also had people working with me in the house. So every morning I would have to clean the toilet. And then, we had dogs running up and down the stairs and lizards in the living room. And it was just a lot. So we decided to move to a retail location for the t-shirt quilt and memory quilt business, because people had keys to the house. It was just, there was a lot going on at that time.
Yeah.
So we moved into a historic house in downtown Cary that had been a quilt shop for 35 years. And the house had been vacant for 2 years because the previous owner in her mid 80s decided to retire. And so as soon as I moved my business into that previous quilt store, which everyone knew that building as a quilt store, the local quilters were knocking on the door saying, "When are you going to open your quilt shop? When are you going to open your quilt shop?" And I was like, this is a t-shirt quilt and memory quilt business. We're not opening a quilt shop. Yeah, we're going to open a quilt shop in a couple months. And so I took a little loan from my mom, and I grabbed one of my friends in the quilting world that I knew would be a great kind of face in the shop. And 2 months later, we opened the door with just barely one shelf of fabric. Now we have somewhere around 4,500 to 5,000 bolts,
Mhm.
and the store is 6,000 square feet. So we have almost 1,000 square foot meeting center, which is also our classroom. We have outlets on the floors and dedicated outlets on the walls for all the ironing tables. We have 2 long-arm quilting machines and a whole staff of quilters that work full time to
Wow.
quilt quilts for people. And then we have a huge, huge retail store, and we sell everything. We sell batiks, we sell modern, we sell solid, we sell reproductions, we sell kits, we have classes. We try to do everything a quilter needs except for the machines. So
Yeah.
we do not sell machines. We're one of the very few stores, at least in our area, that doesn't sell machines. But to be honest, I really just didn't want to work for anyone else. I only wanted to
Yeah.
work for myself.
And I went through that with daughters. You know, my kids are at home. We had 2 dogs, 2 cats, 3 kittens, and chinchilla.
Yeah.
In a
Yeah.
very
It's a little hard.
busy, yeah, in a very busy, yeah, it was like a revolving door kind of thing
Yeah.
going on. Yeah, I hear you. So you're online, right? Like you have an online presence as well?
Yes. Yeah. We are also online. It's caryquilting.com, and it's Cary. That's the
Yeah.
name of our town. And we ship worldwide. So we actually ship pretty often to Canada. But we also ship to Australia, New Zealand, Europe, all over.
Oh,
So,
wow. Yeah, I'm gonna need that link because I want to put that in my show notes too, right? So
okay.
what did you find the biggest impact on the pandemic? Now we're kind of getting at the tail end of, hopefully the tail end of this
Hopefully.
pandemic. What did you find? Because you've been in business for a while before, and then the pandemic hit. Did you find things changed, or did your online business take off? Like, I mean, what changes did you find your store going through?
I think the hardest decision I made was to actually shut the doors for a couple of months because we had local ordinances in place, and we weren't an essential business, even though a lot of
Right.
people would disagree with that. And so that was, I think, the hardest decision I've ever made as a business owner, was physically shutting the doors. But our online business did continue to do well. And I would say that the reason I'm even on YouTube is because of the pandemic. Because as soon as we shut the doors, our customers couldn't see what was new.
Right.
And we kept opening boxes, and boxes kept coming because, as you know, shop owners order things 6 to 9 months out. And so we didn't, we couldn't have predicted in 2019 that we
Yeah.
shouldn't maybe order in 2020. So we kept getting fabric in. And I said, maybe I should do some unboxing videos and just show people what's here, because they won't even know what to buy
Yeah.
online if they don't know what's in the store. And so I started with the videos back, I guess, in 2020. And I was terrified all the time. My heart was racing. I would have to lay down on the floor in my office after doing one. I was just the worst. Like, I couldn't think of what to say. And now it's, I just say, all right, is there anything in my teeth? All right, let's go. I don't even think about it ahead of time anymore. Um, so
Well,
honestly, I think the pandemic has been, it was good for us because we had to figure out how to pivot into more online sales, how to get our messages out in different ways. And I think a lot of people who were at home found that they were reconnecting with the crafts and things that they had enjoyed in the past. Like, if they cleaned out a closet, they found an old quilt they had started 10 years
yeah,
ago. And I
yeah.
think people really got back in touch with the art and craft that had made them happy previously. And everybody sort of slowed down. And that was really good for our business.
Yeah, we started our channel what, a year and a half ago. So right in the middle of the pandemic, and it was like, yeah, I should have started it a year earlier because we talked about it for a year ourselves. And you're right, those first videos, you can actually see me sweating. And my husband didn't understand that. He said, "You go out into the world before this, and you talk to people at bus stops. You talk to people at newsstands, like,
I'm the same way.
and
I
you're
will talk
like,
to any stranger.
yeah, and you're like panicking because you're on camera now." And I'm like, "Well, yes." So it was kind of, yeah, it was terrifying. I was terrified
Yeah.
actually to start this, but yeah, it was. there was part of that too, right? So I don't know. Yeah, the other thing I found with my life and being a teacher and everything, all the students now, we, instead of meeting one on one, we went to online. And then what happened is, of course, all the other like quilt guilds and stuff like that, if they could go online and they had the IT capability of doing Zoom or whatever, they did it, right?
Right.
Just to keep their members busy. And I'm hosting four four sew dates myself, and it's like, you know, three of them are weekly and one is a monthly one. But I mean, it's
Wow.
just amazing
Right.
how all of a sudden people are very anxious to connect with that.
Hmm.
That,
Hmm.
and I don't know, and there's people I've met from my Zoom so dates on my channel that I would have never had the opportunity to meet.
Right.
It's like there's a whole world out there that is just so cool and waiting for, people to invite them to a Zoom meeting, right? It's like even now, even though the pandemic restrictions are starting to lift here in Canada, yeah, it's like amazing.
Well, and I think that we probably took our connectedness for granted prior to the pandemic. And so I feel like now people realize how important it is and seek it out more often.
Yes, very, very much so. Now, do you have a Facebook page, Julianne?
We do.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm gonna need that link too. Now,
Okay.
one of the things I found with my Facebook group is the ladies now are using the room function in there to gather and sew and do like impromptu sew dates. When if
That's so
when
fun.
somebody just wants to go hang out and they make a comment, I'm in the room, and it's in the chat, and then it notifies everybody who's ever signed on the room, and they can get in there, and other people will, oh, the room's active, let's go see who's in
Yeah.
there, and they sit and chat and they get to know each other. I mean, we already have something so wonderful in common. We're all quilters.
Right. Yeah.
It's like easy to talk to these other people because you already know that, well, if I just stick with quilting, I'm going to be able to talk to them for hours
Right.
you
We
know
also have a Sew and Tell page. So I'll have to check on our Sew and Tell page if we could do a room there as well. That
yeah,
would be really
because
fun.
that would be lots of fun. For it's a good way for the members to actually get to know each other and get to chat, right? I
Mhm.
mean, I never wanted a channel where I ignore my viewers, and I never
Right.
want a Facebook group where I'm, lofty and above. No, that's not. I
Yeah.
want people that join this group to get to know each other, not me. I don't, yeah, to get to know each other and have fun, right?
Yeah,
So
I'm the same way. I don't even wear my name tag at work because it says owner and I can just be me. I don't have to be anybody else.
exactly, yeah, exactly, exactly. So, what funny story or cool story do you have to tell about your shop?
Um, we have had several, I guess, guest appearances. I think probably one of the more interesting ones, we had Alex Barinelli of Aurifil Thread.
Okay.
He came to the shop and did 2 or 3 different presentations. So we filled our meeting center 2 or 3 times. And he looks similar in real life as he does
Oh,
anywhere
wow.
else that you might have seen him. I will say that he smells a little smokier, but if you can get past that, it was delightful. And he has a very thick Italian accent. So sometimes there was a little bit of people weren't quite sure what he was saying, but he made sure he made enough sense and eye candy. That was really fun. And I've had lots of opportunities to meet people, especially at quilt markets and things like that. So I try to find interesting things to bring to the shop
Yeah.
and to our local customers. But
I saw an interview with where Alex was being interviewed, and he said it was just astounding what 10 years ago he would have never talked to a sewer or quilter because that wasn't the business he was in, and then all of a
right,
sudden he got this business, and that's all he does now is
right,
talk to quilters and talk to people who are sewing, and he talks to people that are designing quilts, and they
right.
want to pick thread colors, and it's amazing. Like, I love their thread. I
Yeah.
really, but
Well, and
Yeah,
part of
it's
his
just,
presentation was a big trunk show. So he had, these amazing works of art that really highlighted the thread.
oh
But
yeah.
yeah, he's absolutely the face of Aurifil, and he
Oh,
does.
yes, and quite a handsome face too. We had my cool story about my channel is that a Gill sister, Heather, and I got together and we talked about Kawandi quilts. Now, Kawandi quilts were brought over to North America, the idea by Marguerite Fabrizio. And so we did our interview, and then I did a couple of, things on showing people how to do this. And, it was all fine and dandy. And all of a sudden, Marguerite Fabrizio commented on our YouTube channel. And I was like, oh my God, I got to talk to Heather right away. Right away you start texting away, like frantically texting. And not only she commented once, she commented twice. And she invited us to her studio in San Francisco. I was just like,
Better than a bar of soap.
I had to laugh. And I told Heather, I said, you really should comment back to her because I thanked her for her comment. Like, you need to, because she's
Yeah.
commenting about you as well and the good job you
Mhm.
did. And she was just like, you could tell she wasn't like she grasped it, but she didn't grasp it.
Right.
But she is very, like, Heather is a very talented quilter. And it was just like, so, we're all just like, gobsmacked, we just,
Mhm. Yeah. But again, it's so funny because just like you and I are people, all those other people are just people too. I mean, it's at the end of the day, we all put on our pants one leg at a time. But it is fun. It is fun when you get those little brushes with the quilting royalty.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and some days for me, I put my pants on backwards and they don't fit right, and I go, like, oh wow, yeah, okay,
Oh,
it's time to do that again. Let's try that one again. Yeah, I know. I just every once in a while, I think I have too many ideas popping around. So
oh,
like
me too.
mundane things like pulling on pants,
Yeah.
some days is not so great. So, Julianne, what plans do you have for yourself and your quilt shop for the future?
Oh, let's see. I mean, the quilt shop, we just signed another big long lease. So we have plans to stay in business for quite a long time. For me personally, my favorite thing to do with quilting is what you see back here behind me. These are all portrait quilts.
Oh wow.
So those are made out of fabric. And that is my favorite thing to do when I have free time. And so I'm in the process of writing a book on it now. And I also teach retreats on that. It's a 3-night, 4-day kind of intensive thing where you take your baby steps to learning how to do that, because that's my own process. I just sort of made it up on my own. So now I'm struggling with how to explain how to do it, because doing the projects for a book is way more fun than writing the book. So
Yes.
the writing part, I'll make projects all day long, but then when I have to sit down and say what I did, it just takes forever. So for me personally, it's the portrait quilts and then the upcoming book. And for the shop, I think we just want to, keep networking and keep reaching out and keep ordering more fabric and keep on keeping on. We love our local customers, and we have a lot of people that come in regionally. So it's really fun to meet people from all over. And it's a fun place to be. I mean, we're always laughing, the staff and I. It's a very lovely environment. It's usually nicer than at being here at home.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it definitely is. And what I like so much, okay, those are your quilts behind you.
Mhm.
This is one of my favorite quilts I made for my spouse, and that was, hand quilted, hand pieced, right? And it
Oh,
was just like, it's kind of a weird, modern, off kilter grandmother's flower garden because
yeah.
it's just a little off, like
Hmm.
me. Well, I'm just a little off, it's okay to be a little off. And yeah, and we're both quilters, but our quilts look so different. It's
Hmm.
wonderful. I mean, it's really cool. I think that we can do this and not, yeah, it's all good, it's just not a
Right.
problem,
Well,
right?
there's really no limit to what you can do with fabric in, a quilting definition. So yeah, I do love that. And I love looking at fabrics for different purposes, like the pink that's in that little one back there. maybe someone uses it for a baby quilt, and maybe I use it for a forearm, and maybe somebody else uses it for a background. And that's, I think, so exciting, just how fabric can be used in so many different ways.
Yeah, and how we all look at fabric and color so differently. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, with those portraits, you have to do such subtle shadings to move from, like at one time I painted. I thought I could be a painter. I was like, obviously that wasn't the case, but it's that subtle shading from dark to light to light to dark, and
Mhm.
people don't understand how that is so important to give your work depth when you're
Right,
painting. Well, when you're quilting, you got the same issues with, moving it around an object to make it,
right.
yeah, to give it the depth that you need. Yeah. But
Yeah, it's fun. I love it. I wish I had more hours in the day or more hours in the weekend,
I wish
because running and managing the shop and then doing this in my spare time. And we have 3 of our 4 children live at home. And so I like to spend time with them and my husband and the dogs. And there's never enough time in the day.
Yeah, I find too that I get too many things up in the air, too many
Like
ideas, and I'm like,
running.
okay, you have to pick your battles because you can only sew for so many hours, and then you go and you have supper, and then you hand sew. So you can't do like 20 hand sewing projects at once. That's not going to work.
Right.
You can only do so much sewing at a sewing machine. Yeah, I know. I have to. I When I retired, so did my time management skills.
That's what everybody tells me, because we just launched our youngest to college a few months ago.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm going to have so much time now. And I don't. I have the exact same number of minutes. But I thought I was going to have more time. And then everyone, at the shop says, oh, just wait till you retire. You're going to have more time. But I don't even envision that. I can't even imagine what that would look like. So,
Yeah, well, my thing too is like when I was working, I had a vision of retirement quite a bit differently than, I do, than the retirement actually is. Like my dad, he would spend time every day sitting and rocking in a rocking chair. He would sit, that was his leisure time. And he would either read, he could do whatever, watch TV, but he would sit there and he would rock. And sometimes there would be nothing going on. All he was thinking about, just him and his thoughts, and that was it. And when he passed, I got his rocking chair.
oh, that's so cool.
Did I have time to sit in it? Just like, I think I sat in it maybe a couple of times the whole time it was here, and then I started having grandchildren, and so I just like, okay, the one who's having babies gets the rocking chair, right? So,
Oh, that's a neat
and
story.
it was just like, okay, and she sat there, are you sure? And I go, yeah, I didn't never had a chance to sit in it, so yeah, I ain't using it.
I think we're kindred spirits. I don't sit still very well either. Even when I'm laying on the sofa at night, I'm needle felting or crocheting or something. I can't just.
Yeah, we're currently doing a nosegay sew along.
It's so pretty.
These are I'm teaching it how to do them 4 at a time, right? So this is the 5-inch scale. Like if it was just one block, it would be 5 inches finished. And I pulled every piece of color except for 2 pieces out of my crumbs.
Oh, wow. And is
Did I
that all
make a
hand
dent in
pieced?
my crumbs? No. But I'm very proud of that fact. I pulled it all out of my crumbs except for 2 pieces.
Yeah.
But the whites I pulled out of my scraps. But it was like, okay, let's see how we can do this if, yeah, no. Yeah, I don't like throwing out fabric for some reason. I either try and make a pet bed or something out of the bits, right?
Right.
Or come up with different ways to make pet beds or some kind of dog bed or cat bed. There's also we have the SPCA and or the Humane Center,
Mhm.
where they keep the animals that are being turned over, and they get requests for pads or something for dogs and cats, right? So that they've got something to lay on other than the cage bottom, because
Right. Yeah.
so yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at and what I do. So I make charity quilts now too, right? So I make comfort quilts that are charity quilts.
Mhm. Yeah, we have those programs in our local guild as well.
Yeah. It's always so nice to do that kind of I just I feel really good about doing that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And we have a influx of Ukrainian displaced people here in Canada
Wow.
coming to our province. And the number we heard was 23,000. And it was like, where are they all going to be? And yeah, so, a lot of those are children as well, mothers and children's and grandmothers. And, so it's kind of like, yeah, it's an interesting time in Canada. And I would imagine you guys are getting some displaced people too from the Ukraine, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure we have any, or not many in Cary specifically. I know I have heard of a few families, but there have been lots of efforts around to get things together and then send. So we haven't done that specifically our shop, but I know like a lot of the area quilters and guilds have been collecting for things like
Yeah.
that.
Okay, last question.
Okay.
And I didn't tell you this one beforehand, but I'm going to ask. Do
Oh
you
boy.
sell scrap bags?
Ooh, we should. So what we have is a huge scrap bin and
Yeah.
people can dig through and then we sell by the ounce. So you can actually pick out your own scraps in the store and often it's we rip our backing. So like the first rip off of a backing will go in there or the end of a bolt that we couldn't quite fat quarter will go in there. So it's usually some pretty good pieces because they're generally kind of big, but we do let people kind of dig through themselves. And we have the same thing with wool. We have a couple of bins of wool that people can dig through
Oh, wow.
and
Yeah.
purchase, just based on weight.
Yeah, because that wool is some beautiful, some of the wool stuff I have seen is just wow.
Hmm.
And and traditionally I think of wool as like plaids, but that's not what this is. This
Oh
is
yeah,
like,
no, there's really pretty herringbones and all kinds of like
yeah.
overdyes. Yeah.
And they have, yeah, the hand dyed wools and all this too. It's just beautiful, some of the stuff that's going on. Yeah, it's just great. So I we probably need to start winding this up. I the Cary Quilting Company has been
Yes.
one of my favorite YouTube channels to follow.
Oh, okay.
So if any of my viewers, if you start subscribing to her, just tell her, Brenda sent you, or because we probably do have some in common. Like,
Yeah, well,
same people in
and our
common.
viewers should go check you out too, because you have so many great tutorials and shortcuts and quilt-alongs and ways to get things done that people may not have even thought of before.
And Free Pattern Friday, for some reason, is just I give patterns away free on Mondays and Thursdays, but Free Pattern Friday, I don't get it. Neither does my husband, but it's like obviously it was a good idea.
We have an emailed newsletter once every 10 to 14 days, and we have a free pattern at the end of the newsletter, and that's always the most clicked link of everything in the newsletter is the free
Really?
pattern.
Oh
Uh-huh.
wow, yeah. I think it's got to do like everything is costing so much now. Like all
Right,
our groceries have gone up. The gas here in Canada is like it's not as bad as some places in Europe. Like
right.
just a quick my girlfriend went to Rome on a holiday this past summer and they rented a car. So they thought they'd do a, driving tour of Italy. And then they found out it was $17 Canadian a liter,
Oh my gosh.
right? So that's I mean that or no,
You weren't driving very far.
$11 a liter in Rome, $11 a liter. Now a liter is like a quart, so there's 4 quarts to a gallon.
Uh-huh. So yeah, do the math on that. You aren't going very far.
No, they actually after a couple of days they turned back the rental. They were like,
Walking is easier.
the train system there is wonderful
Oh,
in Europe. So, that's kind of what they decided to do public transportation instead.
I think we're about 350 a gallon here right now. 350 American.
I don't even know what it is here in Canada where we are. It's like you go to the gas station, you go, okay.
Right, you need
Because we
it, but you
won't
just
look. We won't look. We won't look. We just, I don't need that kind of shock every day that, we're driving around, right? Yeah.
So the
So
fact that you
anyway,
and I both have free videos and you and I both give away free patterns should make it really nice.
yes, that's very true. Very, very true. Anyways, Jillian, it was lovely to talk with you today. That was just awesome. I'm so glad that you made the time. I mean, both our lives are busy and we have to, okay, schedule this now.
Yeah,
And it's like, and I'm so glad we finally got together and talked because we've been talking about this for a while.
yeah, like 6 months or so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since the bar of soap. Yeah. So,
I'll have to tell Steve from Fiddle Tree how much the bar of soap made everyone laugh and smile.
okay, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful week ahead and you win Bob and Chicken and life is just good, very good for you. Okay, you take care. Bye.
Bye.
My husband and I would love to thank you for coming along with us on our little fun adventure here that we're having. We do have a Facebook group now, and that Facebook group is got some very, very talented quilters in there, and we love sharing and posting pictures and commenting, and it's been a lot of fun. And the advantage of the Facebook group is sometimes I drop patterns in there early, so you kind of get a hint as to what is coming next. After the nosegay sew along, we're going to be doing curves boot camp right away. So we'll get you sewing those curves, and it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of interesting little blocks that we've got to work on. But we would like you to share, like, and subscribe. Telling your friends about us and letting them know that you kind of like our channel, that means so much to us here. So you take care. You have a fabulous week ahead. Okay, bye.